underneath the table.
So cute.
Can you grab that XLR again for me, please?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, clear this table.
I have a golden retriever. We just got it. I have a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old child. Those are, yeah.
Yeah, well, at least they can entertain each other, right?
No, they fight.
Oh, no.
My 7-year-old's a boy and my 3-year-old's a girl.
Oh.
Yeah, my 3-year-old's here. She's, my
Oh,
mom
she's
says,
the cute one in the little dress.
my mom's like, she's my payback. I'm like, thanks, Mom.
Yeah,
She's a
it's
lot of
funny.
work. She's a lot of work.
My boyfriend's dad said that because his son was my kid, and he's like, "You're gonna get everything you did to me 3 times."
It is. It definitely is.
Oh.
She's crazy. Oh, but I'm so obsessed. Like she's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
Just a lot of work.
She's very sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To
that
other
was
people.
fun.
Yeah. Oh,
What
her and
was
her
the golden
brother.
retriever's name?
June.
June.
My son wanted to name her June because she was born in June. I'm like, very, very
Well, that's
clever.
so
Yeah.
cute. Yeah.
It was really.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys ready to roll?
No, hold on. Jeff knocked my thing down. Thanks, Jeff.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
Did it on purpose.
I know you did.
Let us know when you're ready.
Okay, we're ready. We're good.
Ready? Good to go? Ready? Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it, yeah.
All right. Good morning. My name is James France with the France Law Group, and this is Chelsea Romo, and she's one of my very first clients in the MGM Mandalay Bay shooting disaster of about 2 years ago now, October 1st, 2017. I'm very pleased to announce, and you may have heard already, that there's an $800 million resolution of the case being paid for by MGM Hotels. MGM has stepped up and done the right thing, so the victims can put this behind them once and for all. They didn't always do the right thing. They didn't secure their premises at all, virtually open to anyone that wanted to walk in, and one gentleman did with 17 weapons, thousands of rounds of ammunition, unimpeded. That's going to change. That's step 2. MGM needs to make sure that all of their hotels and properties are safe, so this will never happen again. These entities, these individuals that cause mayhem and havoc to the community need to be held accountable, and today they're being held accountable and they're doing the right thing. The other thing I want to point out today is litigation. You hear the comments, there's too much litigation. Well, guess what? Litigation is what's changing the mentality of weapons and guns in the country right now. The bump stock, which was the automatic feature of the weapons that the shooter Paddock had that day, is now illegal. As a result of this litigation and this tragedy, 58 people had to die before this happened. And that's not right. There's 5 measures in front of Congress right now of various areas of gun control. They're being considered right now. That's a result of this type of tragedy and others that have occurred around the United States. And it should never, ever happen. All right? Chelsea is a role model, is a hero to me. She's a survivor. She's courageous. In spite of the fact that she lost her eye and has shrapnel in her brain, had a terrible injury, wasn't going to live, she came back, got 2 beautiful children, and that, you know, one of them's here today, and she came back, and she has just the greatest positive attitude in spite of what happened here. And I'm just so proud of Chelsea Romo and many of our other clients. We represent 199 victims in this case, and it's just remarkable that when you see the tragedy that they have overcome, it makes you think every day. The little things don't really matter so much when you see something like this. And then other people will say, wow, there's $800 million. That's fantastic. I asked someone earlier today, would you take $100 million, $500 million to lose your eye? Or have shrapnel in your brain? 58 people killed? No. The money is more of an example of a corporation trying to do the right thing. It will help folks that are disabled going forward with their lives. And it'll be very helpful for folks like Chelsea and a lot of others that were injured, badly injured in this shooting. So I think the lesson to be learned here, really, is that we all must be accountable for our behavior. When we make a mistake, we have to own up to it, we have to make restitution, and we have to change the bad behavior. And that's what we're doing with this lawsuit, and that's what we're going to do going forward as well. Any questions?
Could we hear from Chelsea on what this settlement means for you?
It means maybe, gosh, I don't know. Life has been really hard the last couple of years. I have 2 kids. To think maybe I know that I could go places and it's safer now. To kind of just know that something good can come from something that was so horrible is, I guess, the only thing I could ask for out of this, since things can't change, the past can't be changed. I guess as far as going forward, if things can be safer and better, that's all I really could ask for.
Chelsea, can you tell us a little bit about the treatment or any surgeries you've
And
had
if you
to?
could roll a little bit closer to the mic, that would be so great for us. Thank you so much.
Any treatment or surgeries or you had to go through and your recovery process?
I've had, I believe it's a total of now 7 surgeries. The recovery process is never ending. I'm actually just got fitted for my prosthetic, that I still don't have my new prosthetic yet. I still have sutures in my right cornea. It's never ending, the amount of doctor's appointments I go to, and I'm a single mom, and I just thank God every day that I'm actually here with them. So I guess that's the way I look at things. And Tuesday morning when I woke up and I got to see my kid's face and see the sun out when I was told I was going to be blind for the rest of my life, I just couldn't help but just smile, because I just am thankful for the things that I do have, because it was not easy getting here at all.
What was the hardest part?
Oh gosh, trying to stay strong for my kids and show them a good example of how I want them to see me, and this is not what I want them to remember as their childhood, is this to consume their lives, and this is to be what they remember of their childhood. And I've tried my very best to make that not the memory they have of me and of their childhood. And that is a struggle, but I try really hard, and my family and friends all around me support me and help me make the best of this for my kids.
They'll have a memory of you being courageous and strong during all
Thank
of
you.
this. How old are your children? Can you tell us?
They're 3 and 7.
3 and 7.
That's all my daughter knows, is my no eye is what she calls it.
She says what?
My no eye, and she'll touch it. She's like, Mom, can I touch your fake eye? And then, can I touch your real eye? I said, no, you can't touch the real one. This is real important, this one. Can't touch it.
Hey Chelsea, if you don't mind, can you tell us how old you are and how has this affected your occupation or your employment?
I'm 30. I just turned 30 in April. I worked at a hospital by me, and since then I've not been able to go back to work. I have so many doctor's appointments and procedures, and my lens, I wear a hard contact lens that I have to take in and out every day with a suction. And with the sutures in my cornea, there's times that it's irritated and I can't put it in, and without it in, I can't see. it's just a constant battle. I could have a good week, I could have a really bad week. I never know.
Chelsea, can you talk about the emotional pain and obviously the physical scars from what happened? Can you talk about what it's like to try to heal from something so awful?
Gosh, it's so hard, and I guess like my close friends know me, and they know that I keep things very surface level all the time because I try so hard to be normal and feel normal because nothing about my life is normal anymore. And the amount of people I have met that were there and the friends that have become family through this and the memories that we all have from that night and that we share is something that you'll never ever be able to repair and be the same emotionally ever.
Your lawyer talked about the bump stocks becoming illegal. Moving forward, what would you like to see in terms of changes for gun control, if you will?
Well, as far as safety precautions, I definitely hope that there's more safety precautions that come out of all of this and that things are watched more carefully so everybody could just feel safer and as far as walking into a hotel or into a movie theater, into anywhere and not be scared.
What about?
Quick question, you told me earlier that you feel like you're sort of an evangelist. How has this improved your life, this event, this horrible event?
Well, it has in a way. God's taken something horrific and he has definitely helped me make the absolute best of it. I get the most amazing messages from people, and I'm a mom who's hurt, always in pain, trying to just stay above water, and then I get messages from people telling me the most amazing things, and it keeps me going, and it makes me realize that before my accident I got baptized, and God said I got prophesied over, and they said that I was an evangelist, and I had to Google it because I didn't know what that meant. And I feel like after this, God's kind of given me a platform to speak about how amazing he can be and the difference he can make in your life. And without having my faith, I can stand here and tell you I absolutely guarantee I wouldn't be sitting here today if I didn't have my faith.
It's incredibly hard to be as strong as you have been. Do you have flashbacks from that day?
I do. I just try to cope with it the best way I know how. And like I said, as I can for my kids. But I try to just manage it. I guess is all I can do.
You talked about safety, places becoming more safe. How are you when you go into a movie theater or another concert or even like that? Are you reluctant to go?
So hyper vigilant of everything around you, and I see this person I'm like, oh, I don't know, like I look everywhere, and I'm always on high alert. I can't do small crowded spaces and movie theaters. First thing I do when I sit down is I look where the exit is and where I'm sitting, and because I was in the very front row holding onto the concert fence when this all happened. So I always look where I'm located and what are my outs and what can I even do, even though if I had all those options it wouldn't have helped me that night. But I still, everywhere I go.
Can I follow up to another question? Your lawyer talked about the bump stocks becoming illegal, and I don't want to put you on the spot, and maybe you don't want to answer if that's okay. But do you have any feelings moving forward as to what changes you would like to see made in the law regarding guns and so forth? I know you talked about the safety of hotels. Is there another aspect?
Yeah, I'd rather stay clear from that.
Okay.
I don't feel comfortable answering that.
Chelsea, you talked about the community and bonds you formed with other survivors of the shooting. Can you share with me, or with us rather, what are some of the other reactions to the settlement from some of the others in this group of folks?
We don't really talk about it. We don't.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. We've all gotten so close. Like one of my friends, I was just actually met them in the ICU I didn't get to meet them because we were obviously in the ICU, and I ended up being a bridesmaid in their wedding. I mean, it's just amazing, but we don't talk about it. We don't.
And I know you lost your eye, you had some shrapnel. What exactly happened to you that night? What do you remember from that night?
I remember hearing it. To me at the time, it sounded like when you're a kid, those pop rocks that you throw at the ground. And I just remember the last thing is there was no one to my right. I was to the far end of the stage, and I just looked up and I saw a gold shiny Mandalay Bay, and my girlfriend said duck, and then she said, "Chelsea, your face." Then the next thing I remember, someone grabbed me from underneath the arms. At this time, I could see nothing. And they pulled me behind the stage, where I sat on a gentleman's lap who kept me stable, and I yelled at him. He's now my best friend. We didn't know each other prior, so I apologize to him about that often. And they tore down a part of the concert fence, and they carried me to safety. And then I remember I was in and out so much, and then being in the ER, and then I just remember waking up to my mom and my best friends in the ICU in Vegas.
Did you take some shrapnel to the eye, or how did you end up actually losing that?
So I cover it with my bangs. My whole cheek, my eyebrow, all of this it's all metal, all plates, screws. So I had it there. I had shrapnel. I still have shrapnel all through my forehead. I have it all throughout my brain. I have it in my right eye. It's everywhere. The fact that I can see out of my right eye, they say, is an absolute miracle. The doctors are like, "Chelsea, we don't even have a medical explanation for this. We don't know what's going on." I'm like, yeah, God is good.
And I know it's been 2 years. What's next for you? Do you want to put this all behind you, or what's next for you?
Gosh, I don't think I'll ever be able to put it all behind me. Like, my life's forever changed. Every morning I have to get up and put my lens in, and every night I have to take it out, and I have to click my heel behind every step I go down so I know when the next one is. And I'm never allowed to drive in the dark again. I don't think it's anything I'll ever be able to put behind me, but maybe be able to live more at ease, maybe, to be able to just try to cope with it all.
I know there's a lot of families involved in this lawsuit, and the numbers seem big, upwards of 800 million. Does this settlement help you live a comfortable life moving forward, or will you always, medical expenses are high, there's lots of things that go into it.
I don't know at this point. I don't know.
I had a question for Mr. France about that. How is the money going to be divided, and could you stress what percentage goes to attorneys?
Right now, we're going to be putting together a settlement protocol early 2020. We're hopeful that during that time period in 2020 that there'll be an allocation through mediators and judges for each victim that's appropriate, depending upon the injury that was incurred, and that's how it works.
And there are a lot of lawsuits. What percentage roughly do you expect for the attorneys?
I don't know what attorneys, it's all variable, basically. And I think it's pretty much on a contingency fee for most everyone. Yeah, but I'm not sure.
Mr. France, you've done a lot of research on this case. Do you have a feeling about motive? Since the police have always said they have no idea what the motive is, what's your feeling on the motive?
I've always had the feeling that he was a disgruntled gambler from the hotel. I had a feeling that he lost money there, and he's making an example of that hotel for whatever reason. And I think he was also crazy, to be honest with you, on top of that. So that's just my gut, but I don't know.
You said there were 3 other people whom you represented from San Diego. Can you give us a little bit of information regarding that?
3 others is one an additional female that has lost her eye and has brain damage, and another young lady that has a leg injury, and a gentleman that was with her has PTSD. So those are the ones in San Diego, and then we had 199 altogether. We represent the families of 4 that were killed, which is extremely sad. One family, it was their only son that was lost. And then many other shooting victims with horrible injuries, significant injuries like Chelsea has.
And you're from Riverside?
Hey, Holly.
Yes, Temecula.
Chelsea, just curious, the shrapnel, has that affected your brain? Because you seem great in that way.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it does at time. I've been doing a lot of different neurological testing and such as far as long term and it moving and things like that. Some cognitive work that I need to do, but I'm very stubborn-headed, which I guess kind of helps in this sense. So I'm trying.
Chelsea, can you tell me, whenever you hear about another mass shooting, whether it's Parkland or any school or the Poway, Finbaugh, or the Saddleback Ranch in Flora Hills, and you see what's happening, what goes through your mind?
I just, my heart just hurts, and I just immediately think about their family and their children and the phone calls and the support that they're gonna need, and because when something like this, it doesn't affect just the people who are injured. They have families, and I never want someone to have to get the call that my mom had to, saying, get to Vegas, it's touch and go, we don't know if she's gonna live. Like, I as a mother could never imagine having to receive that phone call. So my heart just hurts, and knowing that what can I do to help in any way is the first thing I think of.
And then for the attorney, I know you said that MGM has stepped up and done the right thing, but you said that they hadn't always done the right thing. I mean, did this settlement come like kicking and screaming, or what is the process like to get here?
Well, they didn't offer to do it right away, right after this happened. In fact, they filed suit against most of the victims, you might recall, in federal courts around the United States.
On what grounds?
We're still asking ourselves that, but then that ended up getting dismissed. And but they have stepped up and done the right thing now. That's the key, and I applaud them for that. I think they're acting as a responsible casino, corporate entity. Now they have to finish the job, if they haven't done so already, and step up the security at all of their facilities.
Do you know what kind of security changes have been instituted since the shooting?
I do not know, and then they have a number of different facilities in addition to the Mandalay Bay, but I would assume a responsible business, after going through something like this, would institute the highest level of security consistent with what the Wynn Hotels was doing at the time of this shooting, and that is having metal detectors, very sophisticated security team, a SEAL team type security team, and all the bells and whistles. So it'll protect all the patrons of their hotel. So this will never happen again. And I think this should be a message to all the other corporations, businesses around the country, that they step up their security until we have gun control to a point where we know people that have the guns are not psychotic, not going to do something crazy. And as long as we have automatic weapons, we've got to be on high alert with all of our security, I think. It's just that simple. We do it with the airplanes. I mean, you get in the plane, you go through, the third degree, right? It should be that way everywhere, where you have a large group of people going into a place where you might get trapped or something, like she was talking about, a theater or wherever,
MGM said is insurance company is going to pay a minimum of $735 million of this. Does that take away, in your opinion, their action of doing the right thing, as you put it?
Well, there's monies that were contributed personally by them as well. And the fact that they consented to that or negotiated to get that handled that way, because insurance companies don't always agree to pay, even if you want them to pay, right? So I think they pushed the right buttons to get it done and talk to the right people. And I think they were acting very responsibly to do that, instead of litigating this for the next 5 or 10 years and putting these victims through hell and back again, okay?
If lawyers like yourself were not involved, do you think we'd be here today talking about this settlement?
No,
Why not?
I don't think they would have done anything if we hadn't done anything. Why would they? There's no incentive for them to do anything. They'll blame the shooter. That was it.
So in your mind, I mean, this is probably on record the largest settlement to evolve from a mass shooting in US history, right?
I think it is absolutely the largest settlement in any mass shooting event, probably in the world, actually. I've not heard of any other like this.
That's a good note to quit on.
Before we quit, Chelsea, just thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing.
Very brave.
So
I
nervous.
just want to leave you with the idea that your children are gonna, you are a role model not only for
Thank
your
you
children.
so much.
She-
I just want to
I have
make
a
life good
question
for
also.
them.
Yes, sir.
Do you, Chelsea, feel that MGM has done enough? There was discussion that there could be a lot higher settlement amount. Do you think that MGM has done enough?
I don't think there's at any point you could ever do enough. You can't bring people back. I mean, I don't think anything could ever be enough. I don't even know. I don't know how to even answer that. I'm sorry.
I would say that MGM has suffered significant financial harm since this occurred at the Mandalay Bay in terms of lost revenues and so forth. And I think that, and then they contributed their own funding towards this resolution and encouraged the resolution. It was the right thing for them to do, a responsible thing for them to do, and I applaud them for doing that. But they still didn't do the right thing initially, which led to the shooting. And if they correct that part of it, then it's a lot better, I think.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chelsea,
Thank you, Chelsea, so much.
Thank you.
And Chelsea, you're from Temecula, right?
What?
199 victims were included.
Yes. Now, just remember one thing, there's about 3,500 to 4,000 victims. All right, and we represent 199 of those.
CHELSEA.
There's 58 deaths, we
Yeah.
represent
And then
4
total-
families of 4 of the decedents. And so, when you look at $800 million, it doesn't seem like that much. At the end of the day, with all the people that died and all the severe injuries, I mean, how much is really enough, I guess? Yeah, it'll be distributed through a mediation process commensurate with the degree of injury that each individual has suffered.
How long will that take to do that?
It'll be handled in 2020. Yes.
Not 199, but
No.
4,000.
So
Correct.
we'll see some money in 2020 at some point in that year?
We are very
Be more precise?
cautiously optimistic that will happen,
Can you
yeah.
explain attorneys will get contingency fees? Could you elaborate a little bit on how that works? I mean, is there a certain fixed percentage or?
Well, it's all variable with different lawyers and, you know, and some lawyers may not even been charged anything, who knows? I don't, so,
What are you gonna do?
I don't know what I'm gonna do, yeah, but we'll see.
Chelsea, you said you woke up on Tuesday and saw your kids, is that Tuesday after, that was?
This Tuesday, the 2-year anniversary.
Oh.
I just appreciate everything a little bit more and like everything I see, the sunset, sunrise. Like I really take all in the stuff that I completely used to take for granted.
On the 2-year anniversary, how was that for you?
It was hard. It was a lot of really mixed emotions to think my personal journey where I've come from where I was and then just everybody else and the people I've met along the way and it's just it was a lot of mixed emotions. I've been an emotional wreck all week.
I want to make one last comment. Attorney Mark Robinson, Attorney Kevin Boyle, and Robert Aglet were on our leadership steering committee in the case, and were monumental in getting the settlement handled and put together. And applaud them as well.
Can I ask one last question?
Yes.
You said litigation and this tragedy brought about the bump stock.
Correct.
Change. I would think that the tragedy brought about the bump stock change. I don't know how litigation played into that.
I think the litigation put a spotlight on how severe the injuries were in this case, and because of that, and then I think they also encourage all the corporate entities to get behind some of the gun control legislation, because they're indirectly affected financially when something like this happens. So that's how litigation, I think, brings about change. Okay? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Just one more time.
3,500 to 4,000.
You're the one, 100%.
That's correct. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.